Hello and welcome. Today, we're going to talk about a figure whose ideas on unity and peace feel, well, more powerful and relevant right now than maybe ever before. His name is Bahá'u'lláh. So let's just start with this question. You look at the headlines, it feels like our world is just full of conflict and division. We're always looking for some new answer, right? But what if? What if a real blueprint for unity has already been with us for over 100 years, written by a prophet back in the 19th century? Because at its heart, that's what this is. It's the story of a man who sacrificed absolutely everything for one single world-changing idea. An idea that's so simple, yet so profound, that all of us, every single person on this planet, we're all part of one single family. Okay, so let's get into his story, because honestly, his life journey is just as dramatic as his message is powerful. We're talking about a journey from the very highest levels of society straight into a prison city. The contrast in his life is just staggering. He was born into Persian nobility in 1817. He was set for a life of total comfort, influence, you name it. But then, after he embraced the message of a prophetic figure called the Bab, he chose a completely different road, a road of intense persecution, poverty, and imprisonment, all for the sake of his spiritual mission. And that road led to 40 years of brutal exile. 40 years. From being thrown in a dungeon in Tehran, he was banished across the Ottoman Empire, first to Baghdad, then to Constantinople, Adrianople, and finally to the penal colony of Acre in what's now Israel. But here's the most amazing part. It was during these decades of hardship that he revealed this vast collection of sacred writings that are now the foundation of the Bahá'í Faith. So what was this message? What was this idea that could inspire so much devotion in some and trigger so much opposition from others? Well, it all revolves around this powerful core concept of oneness. This is the bedrock of his entire teaching, the principle of oneness. And this isn't just some vague, let's all get along idea. It's a really deep spiritual concept that there is one God, that all the world's great religions are actually part of a single unfolding divine story, and that all of humanity is, in fact, one people. You can really break it down into three main pillars. First, the oneness of God. Whether we call that Source, Allah, Yahweh, God, or Brahma, it's the same single creative force. Second, the oneness of religion. This idea that figures like Moses, Buddha, Jesus, and Muhammad are all divine educators. Each one brings a new chapter of guidance as humanity grows and develops. And finally, the oneness of humanity. The idea that all of our divisions, race, nation, creed, they're secondary. They're illusions in a way. Our true, shared identity is that we are a single human family. But here's the thing, Baha'u'lláh didn't just give us a beautiful spiritual vision. He provided a practical blueprint for how to actually build a peaceful world based on that vision. So the big question is, how does this all translate into action? He laid out several principles that for his time were just completely radical. He called for the full equality of men and women. He championed universal education for every child as a key to getting rid of prejudice. He insisted on the need for both social and economic justice. And crucially, he envisioned a system of global governance to guarantee world peace. This wasn't just some vague hope. He actually detailed a future world federation with an international legislature and a world court to peacefully solve disputes between nations, all of it working together for the collective security of humankind. And this metaphor is just a brilliant way to understand his approach to knowledge. He taught that faith shouldn't be blind. Science and religion are not enemies. They're not in conflict. They are two wings on the same bird, two complementary ways of understanding reality. And for humanity to soar, to really progress, you need both wings to be strong and working in harmony. If there is just one single sentence you take away from this, please let it be this one. It just perfectly encapsulates his entire vision. It totally reframes our perspective, doesn't it? It shifts us from thinking in terms of competing tribes and nations to seeing ourselves as citizens of a shared home. So now, over a century after he passed away, what is the legacy of this vision? Is it just a beautiful idea? Or is it actually being put into action in the world today? Well, today, the Bahá'í Faith, the religion he founded, has spread to pretty much every single country on Earth. And its members are actively working, right at the grassroots level, to put these principles into practice. They're doing it through educational programs, through initiatives that promote gender equality, and through efforts to build communities that are socially and racially unified. When we just look at the state of the world, all the conflict, the polarization, the deep-seated prejudices, his call to rise above our differences and to see the divine spark in one another, it really doesn't feel like a message from the 19th century. It feels more like an urgent prescription for the 21st. And this, really, is the ultimate note of hope in his teachings. Bahá'u'lláh taught that the unification of humanity isn't just some lofty, impossible dream. He said it is the inevitable next step in our collective evolution. It is our shared destiny. So we're left with this question. If he was right, if unity truly is our destiny, what choices do we need to make as individuals and as a global community to finally make that future real? What will it take to prove him right?